Well, hey, Divi Nation. Welcome to a brand new weekly Divi use case live stream. Hello, everyone. This is something we do to provide some extra value in and around our Divi design initiative. And for those of you who don't know, the first wave of our design initiative is to give away a free Divi layout pack each Monday. And this is part of our larger mission, which is to make you, the Divi Nation, the most empowered community on the web. So, these layout packs are created by our super talented design team, and they're published on our blog each Monday, and they're featured on a Divi use case live stream, which is what this is, every Tuesday by a member of our Elegant Theme staff. And for this live stream, I'm going to be walking you through how to build a contact form that requires users to agree with your terms and conditions before submitting your form. And I'm going to be using the Caldera Forms plugin and also Divi's new Business Consultant Layout Pack. And you can access this layout pack now free directly from within the Divi Builder when you go ahead and add a layout to your page. I've also added links in the description below to the blog post that goes along with this, links to the plugins I'll be using, and also a link to go ahead and check out Divi if you don't have it already. All right, so I think we're ready to get started. Let me go ahead and check out our comments here. And while I do that, you can look on the screen there. You can see what we're going to be needing for this use case tutorial. Hello, Dean, Boo, San, and a cool name, Private. That's awesome. How's everybody doing? It's good to see everybody here. Don't be afraid to give a shout out from where you're from, and also let us know that you're here. And any questions you have, we've got some real Divi geniuses here to help you from our staff, aka BJ Keaton. Thanks, BJ, for being on our comments. Also, let's check out Facebook. I see we have Donna. All right. Hello, Donna from Rhode Island. Welcome. So I'm excited to get started here. Let me go ahead and just go over briefly what you're going to be needing for this tutorial or this use case. And of course, you're going to need your Divi theme installed and active. Also, the Business Consultant Layout Pack. That is, well, specifically, we're going to be using the case study page and the contact page layouts within this pack. So we're going to use 2 pages within this consultant layout pack to create our contact form page and also our terms and conditions page. So just a heads up of what we're going to be doing there. You'll need a copy of the Caldera Forms plugin. Good news, everyone. This is a free plugin. So I know the past live streams we've been covering paid plugins. So this is a breath of fresh air, I know, for some of you. And also the Auto Terms of Service and Privacy Policy plugin, which is a big mouthful. But this is a pretty popular plugin which allows you to, deploy a terms and conditions somewhat catered to your own business in a flash. I mean, it's really easy to do, and it's going to allow me to create one for this use case. Of course, you can always do this the traditional way, and they have other ways of creating terms of service content, but this plugin does it fairly quickly, so I wanted to use it for our use case. So just a little word on the Caldera Forms plugin. I know that Divi has a wonderful contact form plugin, but there are still a few things that the Divi contact form doesn't do that Caldera Forms can do. We know that there are entire companies dedicated to building a product of a contact form. So it's not surprising that there are plugins out there that are more advanced. So I wanted to use this one. Of course, you can do this with the Divi contact form. You just won't have a little bit of the functionality we're going to be going over today. But yes, you can do this with the contact form, Divi's contact form. So just a little shout out. I know some of you are probably wondering why we're not using the Divi contact form. So I'm excited to get started. Let's go ahead and get going here. Yes, Dean agrees. Great plugin. And the Caldera Forms plugin, one of the reasons I decided to use this plugin, and let me just go ahead and show you, this is the page here, is there are a lot of contact form plugins, a lot of great contact form plugins, and there are even plugins that are better than Caldera Forms plugin, but they're not better, at least the ones that I researched. They're not really, they don't have all of the functionality that Caldera Forms does as a free version. So one main thing that stood out to me was their ability to have conditional logic in the free version of Caldera Forms, which was awesome. And a lot of them don't. If you look at all the plugins out there, a lot of them, you have to upgrade to the Pro version to access the conditional logic functionality. So just a little thought behind why I'm using Caldera Forms today. I'm also going to be using this auto terms of service and policy, privacy policy plugin. This is, it basically puts your own information to a version of Automatic's terms of service and privacy policy. So it's kind of like one of those things, if you don't have one, it's definitely better than nothing, but you may need a more advanced terms of service if you're, really serious about tackling that. But this is a great plugin, really easy to use. All right. So let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and go to our website here. And just to kind of bring you up to speed on what I've done so far so that you can kind of catch up on your own time. But I went ahead and, created or added the business consultant layout pack to my website by creating new pages for each of the layouts within the pack. And then I went ahead and created a menu so that I can go through these layouts pretty easily. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm really only going to be concentrating on using this case study. Well, this is the actual contact form. We're definitely going to use that one. We're going to plug in our custom form within this module in the contact form. And also, we're going to build a terms of service page really quickly, just using the case study layout here. So that's just a heads up of where we're going with this. And the end product is going to look something, well, it's going to look exactly like this. This is our Caldera Forms. You can get this created really quickly, actually. But I just want to bring your attention down to the bottom here where it says, it has this checkbox here, I accept terms and conditions. You'll notice here there's a link that will link out to your terms and conditions page, which is really a convenient way to showcase that for your users so they don't have to go searching for it. And also the checkbox here has conditional logic so that when I click it, then I can see my submit button or send message button here. And I've added some styling to it to match, and we'll go over that. But that's kind of the rub there as far as how or where we're going. And of course the yeah, so let's get rolling. Let's see, if you are just joining us, I want to welcome you to our weekly Divi use case live stream. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to require users to accept your terms and conditions on a contact form. And I'm going to be using the Caldera Forms plugin and Divi's Business Consultant Layout Pack. So I'll also show you how to get your own terms and conditions page up quickly. And you can access this layout pack directly from the Divi builder when you add a layout to a page from the Divi library. So I've also included links to everything, so please check out the description to find a links to get Divi, the plugins, and also the blog post that goes along with this use case that was actually published this morning. So let's continue on. The first thing we're going to do is actually tackle our custom form first. So let's go ahead and make our way to the WordPress dashboard. So I'm going to navigate to, I'm going to open a new window here. All right, so I'm going to my WordPress dashboard. I'm going to navigate to Caldera forms. So once you have the plugin installed, you just navigate to the actual forms here. So I'm going to click on forms. All right, and I've got, as you can see, I've already created a couple of these, but you will want to go ahead and go up to this new form button up here. And you have some templates here to choose from, which kind of gives you a head start, which is really cool. I'm going to just go with this contact form, the simple contact form here. I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to create the form. All right. All right, so here we go. The first thing we're going to do here is clean up some things. As you can see, this is by default, it's going to load up this layout builder, which is has some Divi-like features. With the ability to add certain fields to the plugin and get rid of some of these columns pretty easily. And then, but up here, first thing I want to do is delete this HTML section. So what's good about the Caldera forms is you can add, custom fields like HTML and stuff like that, similar to other form builders like Gravity Forms and other things like that as well. So I'm going to delete this one actually. So go ahead and delete this section, that whole row. The white section is actually a row, and you can see how this is a 3-column, 3 rows, and 3-column row up here. Can't talk today. All right, so I'm going to actually get rid of these because we're going to be displaying it on a pretty narrow contact form, so I don't really need to break it up into the columns. So that's real easy. I deleted the top section and got rid of my my columns by clicking that little minus icon there. All right, now that we have that, we're going to add a new row for our checkbox. So come down here and hover over this gray, dotted line box section and click it, and that's going to create a new row. And then all I'm going to do is grab it and drag it up right above my send message button here. And then once that row is created, I can simply click this plus icon at the bottom of the row, which adds a field to your row. I could also come over here and drag this into the box as well. So, oh, accidentally added one. All right, so if you want to delete one, just click to edit it and then delete field over here. So that's easy enough. All right, so I'm going to give a plus icon here. And that's going to add a field. So I have all these fields to choose from. I'm going to go to the select tab here, and I'm going to check a set field here. All right. And then I'm going to go over here to my options. So this is my field options over here. So I, of course, will need to give it a name. I'll just call it term checkbox. And also, the slug will be generated automatically, so we'll definitely need that. And I do want to hide the label because we don't want it. We don't really need it. It's pretty self-explanatory to have whatever the verbiage is next to your checkbox. So I'm going to hide the label. We're going to add the condition later on, but we do want to make it required. And you can add a description here, but we don't really need one. But we do want to come down here, the bottom, and add an option. So by default, this is actually was less intuitive in my opinion, but here's where you need to add your checkbox options here. So I click one, or click the add option there, and then now I can enter my label for my first option, which will be, whatever, whatever call to action you want, or whatever verbiage you want. I accept the terms and conditions. Now, I think, yeah. So you type that in there, and you can see it populate over here on my actual form. But the cool thing about this this input box here is that I can put HTML in here. So this allows me to turn this terms and condition text into a link. So I'm going to type in a custom link here. Now, I'm going to leave it without the URL because I don't know what your page is going to be for your own terms and conditions page, but you'll want to, fill in that the href tag, put the URL in there, and then close my tag there. All right, so now that's going to show up as a link. So just to reiterate, what I did here was I put in a label, but I added a link. I did it manually using HTML so that I can turn this terms and conditions into a link that will link out to our terms and conditions page so that the user won't have to go searching for it. All right. Now that that's done, we are ready. I'm going to save my form here by clicking Save Form at the top here. And I'm just going to preview it really quickly. So I always like these preview buttons. And then, all right, so there we go. You can see that we have our link in place on our checkbox. All right, this is obviously a default page layout, so we're going to be adding this form to our Divi layout. But I just wanted you to kind of see what it looks like so far. All right, so let's see. Now that we've actually built out our form, that was actually really easy to do. So you can see some more options that Caldera forms have up here in these tabs. They have email processors, and this one is called conditions. This is what I loved about this plugin because I was able to add conditions, which is also something that the Divi contact module does, contact form module does. So I'm going to add a conditional group and give it a name. Let's call it, I don't know, terms, conditions. All right. All right, so that pops up the settings here. I'm going to set it as a type to show. There's a show type, a hide type, and a disable type of condition. So basically what I'm saying is I want to show this condition or show this element when it meets this condition. So I'll show you how that works. So after you click show, click this add conditional line. And then under the if, or right after the if, I'm going to select term checkbox, which is what I named my custom checkbox field. So if this checkbox is, I'm going to leave it as is, and then my only option that I have is accept the terms and conditions. So if that checkbox is selected, basically, I'm going to show something. Well, what am I going to show? That brings us to this section over here, which is the applied fields. Where do you want to apply this condition? We're going to apply it to the send message button. Now, of course, you could apply it to both the send message and comments if you want. It's a great way to hide certain elements of your form to force them to accept the terms of service. So I want to hide my send message button. It's also a great way to guard against the user clicking on the button too early without checking the box, stuff like that, making the error pop up and them having to go back through the form. So it's actually a good practice if you want to avoid that type of thing. All right, so that's pretty much it. I have my condition set. I'm going to save my form. Now when I preview it, I'll see that now my button's hidden until I click on accept. There we go. So that's what that condition does. Pretty easy. All right. Let's take a look at the questions if we have any that maybe I can address right now. Let's see. I'd love to see a tutorial with advanced forms features, complex forms on Divi. Actually, I know if you check out the documentation, Elegant Themes is documentation. There, if you look under the contact forms documentation, I know I did an explanation of how to create a more advanced contact form using conditional logic. So great question. So go ahead and check that out. If I can remember, I'll add that link to the description so you can go and see that. But yes, contact form documentation should have the answer you need, if not in the video, in the actual written documentation. Carol loves using Caldera forms. All right, so I have Ryan. Ryan asked, "Where are you writing on the screen?" Okay, so I'm pretty certain that y'all probably can't see my cursor, and I apologize. I think that has to do with the way we're streaming this live stream, but I know it's an issue, and I apologize for it. I'll try and highlight things better as I go through them. All right, any other questions maybe I might be missing? Let's keep rolling. If you are just joining us, welcome to our weekly Divi use case live stream. And today I'm going to be showing you how to require users to accept your terms and conditions on a contact form using the Caldera Forms plugin. And I'm also going to be using it with the business consultant layout pack that was just released yesterday. So If you want to access the layout pack, you can get it directly from the Divi builder now when you add a layout to your page. And also, if you need a link to anything like to Divi or to any of the plugins being used, or to the blog post that goes with this use case, go ahead and check out the video description below, and then you'll find it there. All right, so we have created our form, we've added our conditional logic. Now I just want to briefly touch on the form, the ability to redirect and add autoresponders to the form. So let's check out this over here. And I know this is kind of outside of the scope of this use case, but I do want to just point this out. If you wanted to, because a lot of forms or free versions of contact form plugins don't allow you to add custom redirects or anything after you fill out your form. The Divi contact form module does, but a lot of forms plugins don't. If you look at processors here, that's what they call them, these form processors. You can add custom processors like an autoresponder. By default, just click out of here for a moment. You have an autoresponder that Caldera Forms creates automatically so that it will notify users via email. But what's cool about this is you can set certain conditions for your autoresponders as well, based on what things they do in your form and stuff. But here are some form processors. There are autoresponders you can use, add custom redirects. You can even send email to different recipients depending on certain conditions met when filling out the form. So really powerful stuff for this free plugin. The email section, of course, allows you to, customize what email you want sent to the admin and what address you want it sent to, stuff like that. Normal contact form stuff. All right, I'm gonna stop there, and we're gonna go and add our shortcode to our contact page. So if you, this is not uncommon, but most plugins use shortcodes to display or to deploy their forms on your WordPress theme, or in this case, Divi. So to do that, I'm going to go to, I can go to form settings, and I can go find my shortcode here. And that's what I want to copy to my clipboard and paste into our text module, which is coming up in a little bit. But that's where you find it. You can also find it by, just clicking on, go to Caldera Forms and then to Forms over here in the left side in your dashboard menu. And then you can just hover over any of these forms that you've created. And then when you click on this Get Shortcode, it'll highlight it for you already to copy and paste. All right, so that's where you get your shortcode from. Now we're going to go over to our contact page. So we're going to our contact page, and I'm deployed my visual builder, so I'm ready to start making some edits here. I love the overlapping on this layout here. For those of you who are curious about that, maybe new to Divi, to do that, all you have to do is add some negative top margin there to your row to give you that effect. So just a quick tip. This is the contact form being used by default. Just to let you know, really briefly, if I wanted to go in here to my module settings, this is not Caldera Forms. This is our Divi contact form that's built into the layout. But if you didn't want to have those extra, functionality that I went over with the Caldera Forms, and you can still, though, add a new field, give it, I'll just call it terms, and then terms and conditions, something like that. I could add a checkbox here, and then have a terms and conditions checkbox pretty easily in here. You can, of course, make it required and add conditional logic. However, I don't think you can hide the button with this one, but you can create one fairly easily. All right. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. Delete the contact module. All right. So I've deleted my contact module. Now I need to go get a text module. All right. I can do this two ways. I can copy this text module over here and just Control C and then Control V, paste it in here. And then I can go in and erase this and then paste in my shortcode. And then it will inherit all of the design options that went along with this text module down there. Why is that important? Because whenever you use shortcodes, the content that's deployed inherits the design options within the module. So it's a trick if you don't know that. It's something that we use a lot, especially with third-party plugins that use shortcodes. It's a great way to match the design with the Divi layouts. So I could do it that way. I could also, I'm going to delete this. I could also just add a new text module. This is another way you can do this. And then add my shortcode. Let me go get it real quick. Here it is. All right, and then I can paste it in here. And save it. Now, may take a moment, but that shortcode is going to deploy that content. But now that I have my shortcode and my new text module, I can come over here and go ahead and copy the style here. I just did my right click, copy style. And then go ahead and paste it into this module that we just created with our shortcode. So two ways of doing the same thing, but the object here is to get a text module with this content or with this shortcode in it, and then have the style match the style of this text module. So what that did was it, matched up my fonts and the font sizes. So instead of, doing all that manually, this is a good tip. All right. Yes. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and don't forget to save out your page. And we have a working form, and it was pretty easy to do. The thing that we haven't done yet, let me go ahead and show what it looks like outside of the visual builder, so we can see how it works. Here we go. So I accept, and notice the button's not really styled here. So I'm all about finding ways to style things from third-party plugins without using custom CSS and to, maximize what Divi already does. So in light of that, I'm going to show you how you can style this button with a little trick to harness your theme customizer options for your button to style it. So here's how I did it. I went back to my Caldera forms. Let me go. Too many tabs open. Go ahead and give a +1 out there if you are someone who has at least 20 tabs open in a browser at a time. That's me. All right. Let's see. Go back to edit my form here. So once I get back to my layout builder, I'm going to go to my button section here. All right, so there's my button field. I'm going to edit it, clicking the little pencil there, icon. And I'm going to add, if you notice here, you can add some custom classes. So I did some, some research here. And if you actually go to your, let's see, I don't have an example button, I don't think here, but just to give you an example, this button, if I go ahead and right click and inspect it, you don't have to do this. You can just, I'm just going to give you the what's the word? The class, sorry, on it. But if you inspect it, you'll notice that there's a class assigned to these buttons. And there's one that's kind of a default class that is used for all of Divi's buttons throughout the theme. So if you add this to your custom class and class here, you can actually start to be able to customize that button with the theme customizer. So let me just, I lost my, let me just go get it from this form. I lost my classes here. I want to get them correct, but let's go here. You'll notice that I've added some classes to this button. Not to that one. Sorry, wrong form. Sorry, bear with me. A little hiccup. Got to find my classes. All right, here it is. So, nope, definitely not it. Okay, I'll have to add them manually. All right, so if you're lost, and you probably are, basically all I'm doing is I'm trying to add a custom class to this field that I created, the one that we created, the terms and conditions field. And I basically want to give it a custom class of, this one is ET underscore PB underscore button. So I want to go ahead and add that class to this custom class section. All right. And I'm losing my mind because it's not the term checkbox. It is the button. Sorry. We're not trying to style the accept. Okay. Button. Go ahead and make it, edit the button here, add a custom class here. I'm going to erase what's already there, and I'm going to add that ET underscore PB underscore button class. All right. That's all I'm going to do. And once that's added, I'm going to save it. Save my form. Now, when I go to my contact form, here we go. I'm going to refresh my page. Here we go. All right, so notice now the button has changed design to match my layout. Why? Because if I go to my theme customizer, all right, and you notice under your theme customizer, you have a buttons section here. This, of course, allows you to style the default button, your default button style for your theme, for the Divi theme. So here, if I go to button style, you'll notice that I just basically gave it a custom background, and basically matched the design of my layout as best I could using these settings, and that allows you to target that that button style, even though it's used by Caldera forms. It's going to kind of override that default styling and match your layout. So, all right, enough of that. But it is a cool tip if you are looking to add a custom style to your button, and that may work with other plugins as well. So it's a good tip. All right, so we have our final result here. The last thing I want to show you, and this is really quickly done, is create our terms and conditions page. I've already created it, and it's really easy to do. I'm not actually going to walk you through the whole process because it's really simple. But if I go to my case study page layout, so I'm going to go to my case study layout. And the reason why I picked this layout, whenever you're adding a custom page to your or creating a page within your layouts, you kind of look for those ones that kind of have more general features that you can kind of duplicate easily, that would look good for a number of different uses. So in this case, I like the case study page layout. I love the layout in general, but I liked it for this use. So real easy to do. Basically, all I did was created or just took that out and added my own header here, like terms and conditions or whatever. And then I aligned it to center. Then I came down here and I deleted everything but this this text module. And then I made it full width, and that was it. I maybe changed the width of it a little bit. And then after that, I just deleted all these other sections. And then all that was left to do is, let me go ahead and deploy, the visual builder here. You can see my terms of service content is there. I'm going to deploy the visual builder so I can show you the shortcode here. So what I'm using here is the plugin called Auto Terms of Service and Privacy Policy Options, and that's this one that I mentioned earlier. But if you go in the back end of your WordPress dashboard, once you have the plugin installed, it's going to be really easy because it does most of the things for you. But you go to settings. So I'm over here in my WordPress dashboard. I know you can't see my cursor, but under settings, and then down here where it says auto terms of service and privacy policy, that's what you want to click on. Once you do that, you're going to see some options here. Now, by default, this is going to be turned to off coming soon. So it's going to be toggled off. And before you can turn it on, you just need to enter in all your company information. So basically what this is doing is plugging in all of these names into the content for you. And, all like the state, location, company name, the plural of that company's name to use throughout the content. And then that's it. Turn it on and then use any of these shortcodes here. To add this content to your page. So all I did was copy this one here, my terms of service, and then went down here to my text module. And again, I used the text module because I want to harness the ability to use the design settings to design the the text that is going to be deployed from the shortcode. So all I did was add the shortcode there, and then I can come in here to the design, and notice that your terms of service may have these bullet lists, unordered lists, and ordered lists, bullets and stuff. Well, you can actually target that with your module here. So if I go to my unordered lists, I can, make them ultra bold for just those elements. If I wanted to, I can come down here, change it from a disk to a circle. I don't know if you can see that, but maybe I can change it to a square. Change the indent for the list. So all the things like that are good reasons to add it to your text module if you're using a shortcode for this. And that's pretty much it. So now the final product is that when you click on your terms and conditions, here it will then link out to your custom terms and condition page. I didn't mention this earlier, but before I leave, I do want to say this. If you are wanting this link here, the terms and condition link to link out to a different tab, which is always a good idea, especially if a user is filling out a form. You don't want to leave the page. If you're not familiar with HTML or how to create links manually, what you're going to want to do is add the target blank attribute there. And just to show you what that looks like, if I go to my Caldera forms, I just remembered that and I forgot to add it. Actually, it's in the blog post. So if you go to the blog post that's in that linked in the description, you can find the exact HTML code used to deploy this button in the label. All right, I think I have time for some questions here. Let me see if I have any that I can answer. Thank you again, BJ, for helping with these questions. We got some. Again, I do want to reiterate, I do walk through this. I have a written walkthrough of this in the blog post of what I've done here live with you guys. So check out the blog post. All right. I don't think we have any questions here. All right. Carol makes a good point. You can, of course, add your own custom CSS to style this form further, obviously. Adding those custom classes allow you to do that with a child theme. I just, for those of you who maybe are new to Divi or to CSS and don't know how to do much with that, so I just gave you that option to use the theme customizer. Awesome. All right, good. Great discussion, guys. Any other last minute questions that you have before I go? Feel free to put them out there. If not, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up here. All right. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Please be sure to subscribe to our blog newsletter and our YouTube channel. And like us on Facebook And also, keep an eye out for our next freebie, which is coming out Monday, our new layout pack. And we will be back here every Tuesday to do another use case live stream for this next layout. So thanks again, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Don't forget to check out our This Week in WordPress on Friday. All right. See y'all later.